my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa String Works Man Cave. I don't have a whole lot of length to fill up a lot of time today, but I do have a couple of very short video clips. I got a few things to tell you about, and maybe one item to show you, but it won't take too long. So if you have any questions or comments, be sure to put them in there, because otherwise it's going to be a short one. First of all, JR status, he went to the local eye doctor. They were trying to get him up to Columbia, and I think they finally got him an appointment for surgery on next Thursday up in Columbia, Missouri. I had mentioned to you the other day about he also had drilled a well down at his new property there at the beginning of our county road. And, the luck was, it's kind of good luck. It's kind of bad, kind of good. The luck was that the water started shooting out of the well. You don't need a pump. It's coming out of the well. And so they were able to successfully cap that, and they ran a spigot off of it, and they're getting 40 pounds of pressure without a pump or anything. I think that's awesome. I wish that would happen to me. That's pretty cool. So he's got free water pressure, free water and free water pressure. Don't have to have electric or anything. I did get, as if you were watching the vlog yesterday when my phone rang, I said, well, that's from my kidney doctor. Yeah, I got the status. And it's so predictable. It's just like I told you. These odds of the things that happen to me, I should have won the lottery 20 times by now. Because the odds are just, I don't know. Some of them are so predictable, it's not funny. Other ones are so far flung out there that it's like, how could that even happen? But it does. So this is one of those predictable ones. I knew it was coming. Before he even started talking, I knew what he was going to say. All right. Well, first of all, he said I need to increase my fluid intake. And if you remember, when I did that, it was a 24-hour where you capture your urine, so that they can analyze it. Well, it just so happened that fell on a day where I had to be working. I didn't have an option. It was like, I don't even remember what the problems were, but it was problems, and I had to fix them. And I was sweating my tail off. It was really hot, and I sweat all day long, and therefore I didn't, and I admit I didn't drink very much because I was busy. I didn't stop to take drinks, and so I didn't use the bathroom very much. And therefore, I predicted that he was going to say, "You're not drinking enough." Well, it was just the circumstances of that day, as luck would have it, And so anyway, so that was the first thing. Well, I knew that was coming, so that didn't bother me too much. But the idea was that from this test, they were supposed to be able to tell me what's causing my kidney stones. Well, he did that. And this is the part that's predictable, especially predictable. The first part was too, but this part is exceptionally predictable because I knew this was coming. He said my urinary oxalate is very high, and we need to get on a low oxalate diet. Okay. If you already know where this is headed, considering the fact that I don't eat any vegetables at all, not any, zero, none, not a single one, unless you call the starch vegetables, like potatoes, corn, and rice. Those three are starches, and I eat those three, and that's it. That's all I eat. I also eat nuts. I eat breads and cereals. I like berries for the most part, and most fruit, as long as it's cooked up. I don't like raw fruit or raw berries at all. In other words, you got to add sugar to them. As long as you add sugar to them, I like them. Sugar, salt, and preservatives, that's all I eat. So, guess which foods are high in oxalates? Nuts, which is really all I'm eating for lunch anymore. That's the only thing I've eaten for lunch for the last 6 months or more is nuts. And guess what's real high in oxalates? Cashews and almonds and peanuts. All of those are considered high oxalates. There you go. So there's the first problem. Guess what else is considered high oxalate? Potatoes. Now, I live on potatoes. I mean, like, I might as well be dead if I can't eat potatoes. And the only other thing I eat is like meat. Well, it turns out meat is not high oxalate, so I can still eat meat. It's just nuts. I knew that was going to happen. I knew it was going to happen. It couldn't have happened any other way. There's no way it could have happened any other way. So he also then made 3 recommendations of things I need to do besides not do, which means not eat those things. My diet is probably the narrowest diet of any human on the whole planet, and yet I have to cut something out of it. It's so stupid. I knew that was coming. I just knew it. So he told me to take calcium citrate daily, take vitamin B6 daily, and a probiotic daily. Simple. Nothing to it. Nothing to it. I knew it was coming. I just knew it. I would have bet $10,000. I could have almost made the analysis myself without ever having to take the test, because I knew that's what it was gonna say. Well, in other news, I got the seal in the mail yesterday, as you saw, and I did get that installed, and I think that went on real well. I think it's going to be fine. But it's a real complicated mess to put this thing back together. It's a real complicated mess. I don't even know how I'm going to do it. I was looking at it, scratching my head. I mean, getting it apart's one thing, because, it's under tension with this belt pulley thing, and it's really hard. It's awkward the way it's made. You can't get to it. All of the, because of the safety sallies, all of the pulleys are completely covered by these covers. And guess what? The cover holds the gearbox and the main drive pulley. So when you put this on, this cover goes over all that stuff. And then you got to get this belt wound around underneath inside this cover. I don't know how you can do it. I don't know how they did it at the factory. So anyway, I've got to figure it out. I just gave up on it last night. I was looking at it and thinking, there ain't no way I can do this. I don't see how you can do it. It was tough enough figuring out how to get it apart. But getting it apart's one thing. Putting it together under tension with that belt is way different. And the other complicating factor is I couldn't find the belt that I needed, so I got a 114-inch belt. When I measured the belt by tape measure, I measured it at 114 and a half inches. Now, that's an odd measurement. Well, it turns out it's actually supposed to be 114 and 3/4 of an inch. So I was off by a 1/4 inch. I was off on the low side, so I needed a 14 and 3/4. Well, guess what? In town, I found 114, and I found 115. Well, I didn't know I needed 114 and 0.75 till yesterday. So I bought the 114 thinking, well, it probably stretched somehow, Well, they don't usually stretch, honestly. Belts don't stretch much. You might think they do. They don't really stretch. They more wear than they stretch. In other words, they wear thinner, therefore they look like they're bigger, because the pulley, they'll sit down deeper in the pulley, and therefore they look like they've grown, but they typically don't grow length at all. And that's the case here. This one didn't stretch at all. If anything, it shrunk. But anyway, now I don't know if it's a paradox, because see, if I get this complicated thing all organized where I can get the belt on, even if I can do that, Wouldn't that be a bummer to get it right there, and because it's 3/4 of an inch short, it won't go on? I mean, it could happen. Trust me, belts don't stretch. You can't get them, you can't make them go over that stuff if they don't want to go. So anyway, that's that predicament. So that's where I'm at on that right now. I may see if I can order. I finally found the model number on that. That's the reason I found the actual belt length. I couldn't find the model number on that darn mower anywhere. Turns out after I had cleaned the parts in my part washer, there was the remnants of an old faded decal. When in fact the decal's gone, but in the paint you could see a shadow of the model number. And that's how, and I didn't notice that till yesterday. I had looked all over everything, but I didn't have it turned just right in the light, and I couldn't see the shadow of that model number. And every time I tried to find the model number online, nothing matched up. It just didn't look right. Well, anyway, I found it yesterday, and that's how I know I'm off by 3/4 of an inch on the belt, and that's why I gave up even trying to put it together, because I just know my luck. I'll get it right there, and it won't go because that dang belt's 3/4 of an inch too short. Did you ever hear it's not easy being me? Anyway, let's take a look at my leak detection video. Let me set up the video by the fact that you've already heard me saying that the air conditioning on this side of the house keeps going bad. We had it replaced. Now, well, actually, before we had it replaced, it wasn't bad, really. One of the units went bad, and we decided to just go ahead and replace it all because the guy was saying, we can't get that refrigerant anymore, and, you might as well get it all replaced. And okay, fine. So we knew it was really old anyway, and we thought it was just a matter of time anyway. Might as well get a new one. That's what everybody says. Go buy a new one. Okay, well, we got a new one. Well, it's been the pits ever since that new one was installed on this end of the house. It's a 5-ton unit. And so they've replaced the coil in the air handler, the A coil, and they've replaced this and that lines and charged it a bazillion times, and just you name it, they've done it. But it still keeps being a problem. So today they sent a different guy out here, and I'm basically begging him to get it fixed. And so he spent like an hour, and he hadn't come up with anything yet, except that he confirmed that it's not leaking in the lines, it's not leaking in the A coil, because he put a pressure test on it, and he said he let it sit there for 15 minutes, and it didn't drop even 1/10%. I said, well, that's good to know, I guess. That means it's got to be in this outdoor unit. So he says, but I've checked that with, they spray it with a kind of like a soapy water thing and look for a leak. Well, he couldn't find any leaks. He says, so I guess I'm going to have to go back to the shop and get an actual electronic leak detector and try it. And I said, hold on. I have an electronic leak detector. He's going, you do? I said, I bet that's the first time a customer ever told you that, right? And he goes, you got that right. I said, well, I got one. I said, it is brand new. And I said, let's see if it works. So we got to, I only showed a very short piece of this clip, just to spare you mostly. But here it is. Okay, we think we found the error or the problem. It seems to be down about 2/3 of the way down, and it's gone off several different times. The very first time we put it down there, it went off, and it seems to be just a little bit lower than right about in there somewhere is where it did it. Well, I'll be darned, now it's not going off again. There it is. So we really think we got a problem right in that general area. Yep. I told you it was short. I have more footage. I am going to put out an actual video because I owe this company a video. They sent this to me a couple of weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. Time gets away in a big hurry around here. And I like this thing. I think it's well made. The technician was impressed with it too. He says this is a pretty nice outfit, and it comes with a full-blown user's manual, not just your typical folded page piece of junk, and the manual's written in English that I can read. I mean, I read it and it made sense. It wasn't like, broken English like so many of them are. It actually read really well. And so we went through some of that today. We plugged it in, tried it out, and it worked great. It worked really good. So TOPTES, thank you very much for sending me this unit. It definitely saved the day. And now it's just up to the company on what they're going to do about replacing it, how they're going to do it, and whether it's under warranty and all this kind of stuff. And you can pretty much bet I'll get the short end of the stick one way or the other, so it doesn't really matter. I just want it fixed. Here's another video I made for you today. Well, my friends, I spent a lot of time on this morning. I've done a lot of neck fit-ups, and a lot of them have taken a lot of time. There's no question. I don't think you should rush a neck fit-up. The way I do it is probably the most tedious way and probably the longest time frame, and trial and error and just back and forth and back and forth. But generally when it's done, it's right. And it's tight. I put shims in here and kept carving the shims down until the shims got so thin I couldn't carve them anymore. Then I took a little bit off the neck to make it work. And we got a good tight joint everywhere. And as far as I can tell, the angle is going to be pretty good to this. We got to remember that this is actually a little on the thick side. So if for some reason I need to plane this down, I've got room. There's plenty of room to plane this down a little bit if I need to. I don't think I'll need to, but I have plenty of room. So anyway, that's about as good as I've got for now. We'll have to give it overnight to set up real good, and tomorrow we'll start into the process of marking where we need to put that saddle and get that saddle installed. So it's coming along really well. That was a tough fight on getting that neck where I wanted it. It really was. It took a long time. I didn't time it, partly because I was running back and forth working with the AC guy and trying to get that straightened out. But it took a long time and a ton of in and out fittings. I'd put it in and test it and check it for straightness, check it for angle, all the right stuff, check it for a tight fit, and just take it back out and you just carve minute amounts off of these things as you do this. You go taking a big chunk out of it and all your work's for nothing. You have to take little tiny itsy bitsy bites. And finally, I got it where I think it needs to be. And I always say it like that because, it's really hard to tell. I mean, it's not a black and white 100% science on setting these things up like this. And it looks real good to me. I think it'll be fine. I do have a lot of height on that bridge, so if I need to shave it down a hair, no problem. It'd be no problem. But anyway, it should work out just fine. This evening, the Houston House Jam is going on, and even though the whole band won't be there, we kind of have an all-star team. I think it's going to be really cool. Well, 3 of them are all-stars, and then there'll be me also. Beverly would be one of the all-stars. She's going to be playing bass tonight at the Houston House Jam. Tony, the fiddle player, you've seen Tony on the channel a couple times. That guy is incredible on that fiddle, and he's also very good on guitar and just an excellent singer on top of that. So he'll be there. And then Bill Pilliard, you know how good he is on his guitar, and he's a good singer and all that. He'll be there tonight on guitar. So we have the 4 of us will be there. I'll be beating on the mandolin like I usually do. And then there'll probably be 1 or 2 others that show up that, I would call them, more like, I don't know, learner players. They're not high-end players. They're kind of like learning how to play and that sort of thing. But that's fine too. So there'll be a mixture of that as well. And anyway, this evening, that'll go start around 6 o'clock or 6:30. So if you're in the area and you want to see a good jam tonight, I think it'll be a good one because, it'll be small enough that the circle, we'll get around the circle pretty fast, and I think there'll be some good music played tonight. That's about it for what I had to cover. So let's go through the comments and see what's going on. Brian Byler looks like he was first one in. And then Ronald Todd says, good afternoon from the West Banks in New Jersey. And Gino Hitch says, hi, Jerry and friends. Really enjoyed the music and the stories. Hope JR's eyes coming out all right. Still working on the bathroom. Well, good luck with the bathroom. Like I said, I've only got 11 of them here on the farm, and I put in every one of them. And a couple of them 2 or 3 times by now. Let's see. Dottie Hildebrandt, praying for everybody. Thank you, Dottie. Enjoyed the play along last night. My donation is on PayPal. Well, thank you kindly. I really appreciate it. And thanks for playing my request, she says. Well, you're welcome. Wavy Gravy, I asked my wife if she was happy. She said, yes, I've had 5 happy years of marriage. I know where this is going. I've heard this one before. The trouble is, we've been married 20 years. Yeah, we tell that on stage occasionally. I just want you to know that today is my anniversary. I've had 5 years of wedded bliss, man. I'm telling you what, it's just wonderful. And, out of 25, that ain't bad. Let's see. Dottie says, I'm going to have a pass for today and Monday, VA hospital appointment. Thank you. And if you don't mind, say a little prayer for me. As a matter of fact, I'll take it all I can get. Well, you can count on that one. Hope everything goes really well for you. And then she says, hit the like button. It costs nothing and it helps the channel. So thank you. I appreciate that too. Preston Johnson says, hey, Jerry, I really like your new song. Can I get the song off your website? I would love to have the words and chords and learn to play it. Well, we haven't got that far yet, but I've played it a number of times on the channel, so you could, copy it from that or download it or something if you wanted to. Bill Rhodes, after we went live, says good afternoon, and he says, love the play along last night. Yeah, I ended up getting into stories about, Alison Krauss and Rhonda Vincent and John Hartford. I guess those are the 3 main ones that I've had brushed elbows with that I knew, not just from the music. Well, I mean, it is kind of just from the music, but it was before they were famous. I've known them, And then I guess another one that I didn't think of last night, but he's not quite on the same scale, but he was an incredible musician, and that would be, if I could think of his name, I'd tell you, the banjo player Joe Dean. He played banjo with, he played with Daly and Vincent for the first 3 years that they were going, and they won Entertainer of the Year all 3 of those years while Joe Dean was playing banjo for them. They didn't win it after that, after he quit them. And he switched over to Doyle Lawson, and he played with Doyle Lawson banjo for about 10 years. And I think he's retired, basically. He's just a kid. I taught him how to get into bluegrass, how to play bluegrass, because when I first met Joe, he came up to me. I was playing a show over in Illinois, and he came up to me and says, you don't know, but we're related, And he was like 10 years old at the time. I said, how's that? And it turned out he was related. His grandfather would be my uncle by marriage, brother. So my uncle by marriage and his grandfather were brothers. So in other words, my uncle married my aunt, which was one of my mom's sisters. Well, anyway, that's how we, got introduced and met. And Joe was already at 10 years old, was already the Illinois State Dulcimer champion. And so I said, well, you guys show me this, boy. Show me how you play this thing. Because I didn't really want to hear it because I'm not a dulcimer fan, I'll be honest with you. But he was 10 years old and supposedly the state champion already. So I thought, I want to hear this. So sure enough, he whipped up on that dulcimer and he made that thing talk. I seriously was impressed. And it takes a lot to impress me, when it comes to music and stuff. I was impressed. He kicked butt on that dulcimer. He could actually make that thing stand up and say something. So I said, well, heck, kid, I said, the way you play that thing, I'm going to put this mandolin in your hand. I said, once you learn how to play this, you're going to throw rocks at that dulcimer. And he got mad. He's like, why? Why would I do that? I love this dulcimer. I'm going, you just listen to what I'm telling you. I said, once this mandolin takes hold, you throw rocks at that dulcimer. He's like, he couldn't believe that I was saying that, Well, so sure enough, I started giving him lessons and stuff, and he took to it really fast. In fact, that day, I heard him play Old Joe Clark on the dulcimer, so I knew he knew the melody and knew how that went. So I showed him Old Joe Clark on the mandolin while we were standing there, and he instantly could play it. I mean, like instantly could play it. It wasn't like he was searching around to figure it out. He could play it instantly. I said, well, dude, you're going on stage with me when we go back up there, because we were on our halftime between shows. So I grabbed him and we went up on stage. I said to the crowd, I said, now, folks, I know you're going to think I'm making this up, but I'm telling you the truth. This boy right here is going to play a tune for you. He has never had a mandolin in his hand until 15 minutes ago. He played Old Joe Clark, didn't miss a note, and just whipped up on it. It was incredible. It was incredible. So he wasn't real hard to teach, to be honest with you. He was probably my easiest student I ever had. But and then it wasn't long after he mastered the mandolin. Then he whipped up on the banjo, and he taught himself the banjo. And then it was a few years later, Doyle was playing somewhere, and by this time, he had quit Daly and Vincent, and he was playing for Doyle. So I went up to him at their booth there at the festival, and I said, "Okay, Joe," I said, "now tell me the truth. Do you still play your dulcimer?" He said, "No, I never played that thing anymore." So there you go. That's another story. I've told that before on the channel. I realize I've told that before. So in case you think I'm just senile, no, I remember telling that story before, but I haven't told it in a long time. And I thought some of you'd enjoy hearing that. But Joe he is just a musical genius is really what he was. Let's see, Wavy Gravy. Your potato consumption is what's bothering your arthritis. They are a nightshade vegetable. They irritate arthritis. If I eat potatoes, I feel like a UPS truck ran over me the next day. Well, I don't disagree with you. I won't even try to argue the fact. But pick out something else I can eat, and then let me know. I don't have a choice. It's like if I don't eat meat and potatoes, I don't eat anything. And that's just the truth of it. I know most of you just can't relate to that. But it's the truth. That's it. That's all I eat. So I don't have a choice. It's not an option. When I was an infant baby, I've told this a zillion times, I know, but when I was an infant, my mother said, and she was telling me this, she said, when you were, a baby like that, I would sit up all night and cry because I thought you were going to die because you wouldn't eat anything. We'd put mixed vegetables in your mouth and you'd spit it all out. Everything we put in your mouth, you would spit out. And we found that you liked milk and potatoes, and that's all we could feed you was milk and potatoes. That's when you're an infant. That's before you can think, before you can, before you're old enough to form an opinion on something. And so then She says, once you got teeth, we found out you would eat meat. And that's all you've ever ate was meat and potatoes. It's the truth. And that's the same way Trinian is. My grandson, he's the 7th grandchild. And the only advantage for Trinian is that we all know about it. And so, we don't beat him to death. Like I used to get beatings at night because I wouldn't eat anything on the table. My dad, he just couldn't stand it. The fact that I wouldn't eat green beans and, all those vegetables, If you can taste chlorophyll, you would just instantly go, that's not food. It's not the worst thing you've ever tasted in your life, but it's not food. It'd be like you going out and pulling tree leaves off and chewing them up and going, oh, I like these. These are great. You can't do it. It just isn't possible. And that's the way food is for me. So I can't help the fact that potatoes are bad for me. What else am I going to eat? I don't know. It's just nuts. It's just, like I told you, I am a genetic defect from where they come from. It's just that, fortunately, I don't mean to make fun of that because, in a way, it's 100% true. It's just that I don't have the real debilitating type defects that a lot of folks end up with, and I feel terrible for those folks. But mine are just weird, is what mine are, and there's not a thing I can do about them. Scott Roberts, I told the doctor's receptionist I need an appointment. How about 10 tomorrow? She asked, I don't need that many, I replied. Oh, I just didn't read that very well, but I get it. I can't read. That's just the 3/4 of the problem. That's just another genetic defect. Let's see. It scrolled on me a lot. I don't know where it went. Golly, there it is. Okay, it did. It moved a long way. Guy Bros, hey Jerry, the other day when you were having all these problems, it reminded me of parody song. Me and my dad used to listen to Eddie Lawrence, The Old Professor. It's on YouTube. Yeah, I've never heard of it. I'll see if I can remember. Eddie Lawrence, huh? Old Professor? I wrote it down. Maybe I'll see if I can find that. Johnny Zell says that's on auto, and I don't know what that means. Bill Rhodes, Jerry, thank you for playing my song last night. You're welcome. And I think that yours was the One Drop of Water. That's a good song. I just don't know it very well. Sidecar Bob, I just had 20 sheets of drywall, then 2x4s, and a bundle each of 2x2s and 1x2s delivered. I am officially restoring the basement. Well, good luck with it. Hopefully your lumber will be straight. That's 3/4 of your problem right there. It's hard to buy good straight lumber anymore. David Tharp, God is faithful, by whom we were called unto the fellowship of the Son, Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Scott Roberts, my mind is exceptionally quiet today. I'm suspicious I'm up to something I don't want me to know about. So, David Tharp or Wavy Gravy, you will have to take over for now. Where is David anyway? Scott Roberts, oh, there he is. Let's see. Gino Hitch, are you going to video the jam tonight? Probably not. It's hard to get decent sound in these jams like this. I might do a little bit, but it's just really hard to get decent sound. Plus, we're going there just to have fun, so, it's kind of tough. And some people don't really like to be on video, to be honest with you. Don Nice, hi, Jerry, could you tape the jam tonight? Well, there's a second request. I'll try to do some of it. I'll since you guys are interested, I'll try to get a few tunes anyway. And I'll play them on Monday or whatever. Scott Roberts, Jesus, take the wheel. Yep, let's see. Bert, there he is. Thank you very much for working on my guitar. I'm sorry it's taking a lot of your time. Well, it's really not taking that much time, Bert. Honestly, I mean, I spent, 2 or 3 hours on it this morning. Longer. That was the longest time. It only took me, I don't know, less than an hour to get the neck off and the bridge off. And it took me about an hour, maybe hour and 10 minutes or something to make the new bridge and get that installed yesterday. Then I got about another 2 or 3 hours in it today working on that neck. The neck is the one that takes the time. You can't rush that. Yeah, I mean, you can. I mean, I could get it done in 5 minutes if I wanted to do it that way. But the difference is I wanted to make sure that the neck joint is super strong, super tight. The tighter you can fit a joint, the better the glue holds. If you leave open areas in the joint, the glue just doesn't hold very well. So I take a lot of time and with carbon paper and stuff and keep scraping and scratching until I get it where it fits like a glove. Paul Akers, I feel your pain. AC man came today. AC needs a new motor that was replaced last year, still under warranty. Put labor is $500 for half an hour of work, second year in a row. Yeah, it's just, yeah. And the prices they charge, it's because they can. It's just greed. It really is. Believe what you want. I mean, half an hour and charge $500. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. They just do what they can do because they can. And they have no scruples, in my opinion. Let's see. Michael 2X, thank you for playing The Last Warrior, Rosenmeister. It is a true masterpiece. I wish I could play it. Maybe I'll figure it out one day. Well, the way I play it, it ain't much of a masterpiece. I can't play it very well anymore. But I just thought you'd be interested to hear the story behind the fact that I wrote that with about maybe an hour. I'm going to give myself a lot of credit and say I had an hour's worth of experience with minor chords when I wrote that. I'd only been playing minor chords for the amount of time that I was sitting in the backyard. And I don't think that was an hour, honestly. And then I wrote that song because I found that Dalton point there in the garden. It was just one of those timing coincidental things, and it just all came together and happened right there all at once. Wavy gravy. I took lessons on the hammered dulcimer, but I finally quit. The problem was my teacher was usually too hammered to get through a single lesson. I knew something was coming like that. No, I don't have a problem with the dulcimer. It's just not my favorite instrument. I don't know. It sounds too chinky most of the time. But there are a few people that can actually make one of those things talk. And Joe Dean was one of them. He could make that thing really stand up, and it made you listen to it. He played it that well. But anyway, Scott Roberts, and by the way, I do like hammered dulcimer. I think those are pretty cool. Scott Roberts, Jerry, thank you for that 10-year-old and his Dulcimer story. Okay, loved it. Okay. Let's see, Bill Rhodes, do you like sweet potatoes? Yes, and guess what? They're even higher than regular potatoes in oxalates. I just looked it up a little while ago. So they're almost like they're more than twice. I think they're twice as high as regular potatoes are in the oxalates. Then that's what he wants me to cut out of my diet. It just doesn't quit. I'm seriously tired. I don't make these things up. These are just the things that happen to me on a normal everyday basis. And it's like, you got to wonder, how does this happen to everybody? I know that generally speaking, like if somebody takes a nap, that's when the phone's going to ring. I get that, but it doesn't generally do that for me. It does it every time. I didn't say it does it sometimes. It does it every time. And I can sit there for 3 weeks and never take a nap, and that phone will not ring. The moment I take a nap, it rings. And it does it every time. Not a few times or once in a while or 3/4 of the time. It does it every time. That's not an exaggeration. That's not a lie. That's not a stretch of the story. It's a black and white fact. It's just the way it works. I don't get it. It doesn't even make sense to me. It just does it that way. So sometimes when I take a nap, I will shut the phone off. I don't usually do that because the moment I shut the phone off, then the next thing that happens is JR calls and the tractor just turned over on top of him. You know what I mean? That's the reason I don't shut the phone off. It's almost like that creates a tragedy when I shut the phone off. I'm even scared to shut it off while I do these vlogs, but I do shut it off generally when I do these vlogs, just for the amount of time I'm on the vlog. It's nuts. I'm seriously telling you, it's nuts. Let's see. Guy Bros says, Jerry, I forgot my question marks. Okay, well, I'll scroll back up and see if I see it. I'm going back a ways. There it is. Hey, Jerry, the other day when you were having all... Oh, okay, yeah, I read that one. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, I knew that you didn't have any there, but I saw my name, and that's why I went ahead and read that one. Let's see. Now I can't find where I was. Okay, I did, and now it just scrolled on me. Okay, there it is. It's just, did you ever hear it's not easy being me? Sidecar Bob, just because you tell stories more than once doesn't mean you are senile. There are way better ways to tell you are senile than that. No, I get it, but I'm not going to mention any names, but I've got friends that have told me the same story 15 times. I'm not going to mention any names, but I've got a couple of friends that are like that, and they just tell the same story over and over. It's like, you just told me that story last time I saw you, you know. And I don't think they realize they've told the same story. So that's why I just want to be clear that, you know, I realize I've told these stories before, but the difference is here, the way I see it, at least the way I see it, is that there's always new people or different people coming in and out, or even some of the regulars. You'd be surprised how often some of the regulars go, well, I never heard you say that before, even when I have, you know. So anyway, that's why I do what I do. It's not just because I'm an idiot. I mean, that's always a little part of it, but that's not the main reason. John Ezel, try a true yam, not tater, or a white tater. Neither one will raise your blood sugar. Well, I don't much care about the blood sugar problem. I don't seem to have that issue. My cholesterol's always perfect. And all I eat is sugar, salt, and preservatives, red meats. You know, I eat, you know, lots of eggs, all the stuff that they say is supposed to kill your cholesterol. That's pretty much all I eat. And my cholesterol's always perfect. So I don't get it. I don't get it at all. It just is just the way it is. In fact, when that last time that doctor did all the full-blown tests on me, blood tests, all kinds of tests, he said, the only thing I can find on you is you're a little bit low on vitamin B. So I've been taking a vitamin B pill, and now this doctor says I need to take a vitamin B6 in addition to the B12 that I'm taking. So there you go. Zappa from yesterday, Act Naturally, written by Johnny Russell, with a written credit given to Van Morrison and publishing rights transferred to Buck Owens. Yeah, I don't know much about Act Naturally. I mean, I think I've heard that. I'm sure I have. I can't in my head right now. I can't call how that goes or anything. Yeah. Oh, I remember Buck doing it. Now that you say that, yeah, I do remember Buck Owens doing it. Bill Mombo, I have a dulcimer, but I also have a couple of Merlin dulcimers, which are played like a guitar, but tuned like a dulcimer. Great fun. Yeah, and again, I'm not knocking them for, people that just want to learn how to play something. That's just fine. I don't have a problem with that. It's just that it's not my favorite instrument. I would never play one because they just, well, first of all, I could never master it like like Joe did. And because of that, they sound too chinky for me. They just don't have a strong melody line type thing. And I'm all about the melody line. Let's see. Johnny Zell says, I meant a car air. Sorry. I don't know what that means. Let's see. Scrolling on down here. Is that, dang it jumped on me again. I try to scroll the thing carefully and then it just jumps and then I can't find where I'm at. It doesn't help that I can't read. If I could read, I could probably find it a lot faster. I hope I'm not skipping anybody. David Thorpe says, I know a fellow who asked to leave work early so he could feed his baby hamster. The boss said, no, that's not what you should be feeding your baby. You're a sick pup. Let's see. Don Nice. Nice pink Batman shirt. I look good in pink. Let's see. Jerry J says, that's perfect. I don't know what that means either, but GNP Old Marine Shop. Hey, Jerry, have JR install a siren for emergencies. Ha. Yeah, have to ring the bell or something. Wavy Gravy, did you hear about the guy who was fired for stealing potatoes? He got the sack. Let's see. Sky Roberts. Oh, yeah, I know. Okay, I don't know what that was. See, Sky Roberts, if you've heard this story before, don't stop me. I want to hear it again. Yeah, that's kind of the way it some of these, like I said, there's 2 or 3 guys I know that just, well, they tell story after story after story after story, and then each, almost every single one of them I've heard before from the same person, Wavy Gravy, why did the sea monster eat 5 ships that were carrying potatoes? No one can eat just one potato ship. That's funny. Scott Roberts, not because I'm an idiot. Ha ha ha. That actually got a good laugh out of me. You're welcome. At my expense, you're welcome. Sidecar Bob, it's not just you. I'd swear the phone is connected to the toilet seat because it rings nearly every time when I'm on the... Yeah, I get it. I do get it. And I know that these things happen to other people, but when I say it rings every single time I take a nap, I mean it. I actually avoid taking naps because I just know the phone's going to ring. It's just nuts. It really is nuts. I'm not kidding you about it. Sky Roberts starts with, they're going to put me in the movies. Yep. Yeah, there you go. They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. Da 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 da. All I gotta do is act naturally. Yep, I remember it now. Moving on down. Sidecar Bob, now tell your pink shirt story. Well, I've told that quite a few times too, but they're going to put you in the movies first time of Hack National. Okay. Well, all right. I'm going to tell the pink shirt story since you brought up pink shirt, but I'm going to call it good after that, and we're going to sign off here. But anyway, my wife, because I'm colorblind, and apparently totally colorblind, even though it doesn't make any sense. I get it. Even that, I can tell that's it's backwards. I can't point to it, but I can tell that's either yellow or light orange or something. I mean, I'm not black and white colorblind. But yet, according to the eye doctors, I am totally colorblind. That's just what they say. But I don't see black and white. I see all kinds of shades of colors, but apparently not very well, or not the right ones. All right, so keep that in mind, and then know that because of that, I never ever bought clothes. There's just no point in it, because I'd be wearing purple with, I don't know, whatever goes against that, orange or something. I mean, I don't know. I'd be wearing 2 different colors like that, and it wouldn't bother me at all. So Sue always bought my clothes for me. I mean, always, and laid them out, and I would just put on whatever she had laid out in the morning, and I'd go to work. So on the way to work at the van stop that morning, I get on the van, and this lady goes, "Oh, I like that shirt. That's really nice." I said, "Oh, well, thank you." So I'm thinking, all I ever wore was white business shirts. I never thought anything of it. I said, "Well, thank you." So I didn't think too much of it at that point. I just thought, well, she can tell it's brand new, I guess, So anyway, that's all I thought about it. So then I get to work. Then, maybe 3 different ladies during the day say, "Wow, I like that shirt." Oh, well, thank you. So now I'm starting to get suspicious, So by the time the third lady says this, I'm going, wonder what it is about this shirt. Is it cut different? Does it have a different style? Is the neck, the collar different? The cuffs are different? So, because I could care less about style. I wouldn't know the first thing about it. So I'm thinking there must be something like that, I guess. So then on the van that night going home, on the van pool, there's like 8 or 9, maybe 15. As a matter of fact, there was up to 15 people on this particular van. So anyway, it's a different lady goes, "Oh, I like that shirt." I said, "All right, stop the bus." What is it about this white business shirt that all these ladies have told me all day long they like this shirt? And the lady goes, "White? It's pink." I go, "Pink? You gotta be kidding me. It's pink? It really is pink?" She's going, "Yeah, it's a pink shirt." I'm going, "You gotta be kidding. I would kill my wife when I get home." So anyway, that's the pink shirt story. I truly had not a clue that it was pink. I mean, even after she told me it was pink, I couldn't see pink in the shirt. It just looked white to me. And anyway, that's the pink shirt story. And it's 100% true. I will see you, I won't see you tomorrow, but I'll see you on Monday with something else. And I probably will try to get a video put together for this and get this out of my hair, because I do owe these people a video. And now I got a black and white 100% case of saying this thing works pretty good. So we will see you on Monday, if not before. Y'all take care. God bless y'all. We'll see you then.